Now, I'm worried about the closure of pubs. The one closest to my house closed just a few weeks ago. We're told there are 2,000 pubs on the verge of closing. It worries me because not just are they community hubs, but every pub is a parliament. It's in pubs where we openly debate things and think about things and often have our minds changed. How serious is this and what can be done? Well, Simon Cleary is the landlord of The Plough in Great Chesterford in Essex. Simon, twofold really. Number one, and I'm seeing it, living in Kent, not that far south of the river from you. Number one, how bad is this crisis? But number two, is there anything Jeremy Hunt can do in the budget on the 15th of March that might help to alleviate the problem?
Well, Nigel, it's very bad. And before we talk about that, can I just go back to your previous point about lockdowns? Lockdowns were horrendous for pubs. We had no income for nearly 8 months. We ended up with a bounce back loan of £25,000 that we're now paying back on a monthly basis. And I don't know if your producers have told you this, but we're actually giving up. We're leaving this pub in 8 weeks' time to put some. Well, I've spoken to you before, Nigel. Yeah. When I've spoken to you before, we were talking about what may happen with energy bills. Let me give you some figures, Nigel. Our gas bill in 2022 for January was £438, including the Swindley environmental charge and VAT. Our gas bill that we received for January this year was £2,370, nearly 5 times as much. And there it is right there. Plus the additional historic debt we have, COVID, and it's just not sustainable. And it is with great regret that we're going to be leaving this pub in 8 weeks' time.
Well, Simon, I didn't know that. And yes, I have spoken to you before about these problems. And I'm very, very, very sorry to hear that. I genuinely am sorry to hear that. Is the pub trade finished in this country?
No, it's not. There are. It's very much location like anything else. The big pubcos will put their support behind their managed houses. Tenanted and leased properties, I think, are going to suffer worst. And the other two things that are coming up, the budget, as you know, Nigel, is the 15th of March. And your question about what Jeremy Hunt is going to do is very prevalent. So at the moment, we're on reduced business rates, which is a hangover from COVID, which has been welcome. What's Jeremy Hunt going to do with business rates? We don't know. The energy relief scheme comes to an end on the 31st of March. Is he going to extend that? Now, he did say at the end of last year there will be provisions made for particular struggling or affected businesses, but there's no meat on the bones of that. Nobody knows what that actually means. I know from speaking to my contacts in the pub industry that people are very, very worried, and indeed, depending on what Jeremy Hunt decides on the 15th of March, it's going to affect big companies like the company we're with, Green King. We don't have a problem with Green King. They've treated us reasonably well over the time we've been here. But they're looking at problems that could amount to tens of millions of pounds in the short term.
Simon, thank you very much for being a regular guest with me here on GBNews. I'm desperately sorry to hear what's happened to your pub. I really mean that. And good luck with whatever you choose to do next. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nigel.
Well, there you are, folks. That's modern Britain. That's modern Britain. That's what's going on.